Hi, I'm Christina from hairstyle.com, and I want to teach you how to do a Dutch braid that can be converted into a whole number of different hairstyles. This Dutch braid is great if you're just learning because it's in a really easy to manage position. And what I mean by that is we're going to do a braid along the front here, which can then be connected to a ponytail or a bun or left out. There's so many variations you can do. But I think if you're new to braiding along this section of your hair makes it a little bit easier to manage. So let's get started. I want you to grab a hair elastic and we're going to separate a section of hair out for the braid. So I've done a side part and I'm going to take maybe a couple of inches of hair from my part down, probably about level to the top of my ear. And we separate that front section of hair and then we're just going to put the rest of our hair out of the way with that elastic. I think it makes it easier when you're learning to braid if only the hair you're braiding is out, so you don't get too confused with the rest of your hair. Now, starting at the part, we're going to pick up the first section of hair that's parallel with your part and split that into 3. Then we're going to take the front section under the middle and then the back section under the front, which is now into the middle, and then that third section is under as well. And on that third section, we're going to pick up a little piece of hair from the front and add that in. And then the same when we cross again underneath, pick up a little bit more hair and add that in. Just keep crossing under and then picking up from the other side, adding in hair on every cross. The reason I think this is a bit easier is you can use a mirror while you're doing this style, but sometimes I found, particularly when I was learning to braid, that using a mirror could confuse me. I don't know if I was going backwards or forwards. So sometimes just having a go without a mirror can help you learn how to braid a little bit easier. And doing a section at the front here that you can kind of follow makes it a bit easier as well. And when you're learning, don't worry about getting the braids really tight or really neat. I think that kind of distracts. You just want to understand the pattern of the weave, so always crossing underneath and adding in hair as you go. Then when you've added in all your hair and you've reached your ear, you can just keep going in a regular plait or basic braid, crossing the hair underneath and bringing that down. Now the trick to make all your braids look a lot better is to stretch them out. So when you get close to the bottom of your braid here, but with a little bit of hair left out, what we're going to do is go back and stretch the braid out. And that'll actually mean that the ends here get a little bit shorter as they get pulled up into your hair. And I often find when you're stretching out your braid that it can sometimes, I like to think of it like when you stretch out shoelaces in a shoe, sometimes you need to pull from another point a little bit further down so that you have something to stretch out a little bit further up. And if you have curly hair, it can be quite hard to stretch out your braid because it doesn't slide through as easily as straight hair does. But if you sort of massage it between your hands, you can fan out the side sections, which makes your braid look a lot thicker and stand out a lot more in your hair. And for the little fine sections at the beginning where you don't have a lot of hair in them, that's especially where I rub the hair between my fingers and really make it sit flat so that all the hairs are next to each other rather than on top, so it makes those little tiny sections look a lot thicker as well. And so now that I've got the braid stretched out, you can see I've got about half as much hair out the bottom of the braid as I did before. So it's all been fanned out and stretched out through my braid. Now that you've got this one, you can really do so many different styles with it. If you wanted to do a side ponytail, you can wrap it around and pin it in place like this. You can leave your hair out and then just leave the braid out in front or pin it up as a little back piece here. There's lots of variations you can do. And I think by practicing this braid along the front makes it a bit easier to understand how to do a Dutch braid that then you can translate across the rest of your hair as well. I really hope you like this quick tutorial, and you can follow me on Instagram at hairomance and over on hairomance.com where I have all my tips and tutorials there. Have fun with your hair and I'll see you next time. Bye.